All right, new polling numbers from Talk Business and Hendrix College offer us fresh insight on consumer attitudes in Arkansas. Our Arkansas Consumer Confidence Report was a polling survey conducted among 570 Arkansas voters statewide. The results: is your personal financial situation better off, worse off, or about the same as you were 6 months ago? Only 13% said better off, 38% said worse off, and 49% said about the same. That's a difference from a little more than 6 months ago when 48% said they were worse off. Will you spend more or less money in the next 6 months for goods and services? Only 17% said they would spend more. 42% said they would spend less, and 41% said they'd spend about the same. Now, the last time we surveyed, only 31% said they would spend about the same. Now, of those spending less money, the two main reasons for reducing spending: planning to save money and worries about the future. Finally, in the last year, do you know someone who has lost a job? 52% yes, and 48% no. And that is a change from our last survey when nearly 60% knew of someone who lost a job. Joining me to talk about these results is FrenchHill. He's the CEO of Delta Trust and Bank. He's also a former U.S. Treasury official and former economic advisor in the George H.W. Bush White House. Bush 1.
Bush 1.
French, good to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Great to be back. Thanks.
I singled out some of these statistics here to just kind of show some shifts that we've seen since the last time we surveyed on this consumer confidence report. And if I could kind of summarize, I would say that there's still some overall pessimism, but people seem to have moved a little bit more to the middle as opposed to thinking that things are going down the toilet altogether. What's your reaction?
Yes, I think the statistics in the poll showed a little bit of improvement. And as we talked, maybe it's the new normal, which is that we're in this muddling along economy and people feel it, but they don't think their personal situation is going to retreat. So they're feeling a little better about it. And when you look between last summer and this summer, the unemployment rate here in Arkansas is down by about 0.9%. About 10,000 more Arkansans are working today than they were a year ago when we were together.
So back to this point, do you think that there is just some stability now that has led to these results, or do you think that, like you said, this is the new normal, that this is kind of where consumers see their plight?
I think it's where consumers see their plight. I don't think conditions are that dramatically better, but they are somewhat better. And as I say, the statistics year to year have shown that. But just in May, we got the word that manufacturing was down. The supply index was down below 50%, which means the economy is not expanding and our important manufacturing job base is not expanding. So I think people see the tempered reaction out there, that it's just not great. But it's better than it was 2 years ago or a year ago.
You're a banker. You're looking at a lot of data that's out there. You also have a lot of anecdotal evidence to kind of layer with some of this. What are you seeing in terms of consumer spending, consumer confidence from the bank level, and how this plays with some of the statistics we've seen in this report?
Right. Well, we've seen retail sales up in Arkansas and nationally, particularly in auto and in retail sales. But an important indicator in the financial services industry, of course, closed mortgage loans. And we are 50% higher at June 30 over June last year at Delta Trust in closed mortgage loans. And I would say that 60% of that activity is new home purchases. Only 40% is refinances, taking advantage of these continuing to decline in interest rates.
So it is a good time to be buying.
It is a good time to consider buying. I mean, we are at, in the last decade, we've had 3 40-year lows in interest rates, and we're back in the middle of one of those opportunities for consumers.
So why do you think that is not stoking more optimism among consumers? If we still see an overall pessimism in here, although it has improved some or gotten to a little bit more of this middle ground here, why do you think that people are not more enthusiastic about it?
Well, we talked last time, and I like the fact that the surveyors at Hendrix changed the question to talk about worried about the future was one of your answers that you just showed on the board. And I think that uncertainty is what is causing people to still hold back, make more conservative financial decisions, and not be more robust in their spending and planning. And I think the uncertainty is tax policy, regulatory policy, and then there's the future of the stock market, the future of the economy, with all the news that's negative from Europe and from America's debt situation. I think those weigh on consumers, even though they're bright spots. Favorite bright spot is is gasoline prices, down about 50 cents from last summer.
You and I have talked, too, about the fact that consumer confidence and measuring consumer confidence is a very emotional thing. You're not really asking them for specifics on data. You're asking them, how do you feel about the economy? How do you feel about your job? How do you feel about your financial condition? And it takes a while for some of that emotion to cycle out, even when the economy may be improving. Speak to that point for me.
I've seen it time and time again, and it's what absolutely kills many a politician, which is they say, well, the recession ended in June 2009, or the recession ended in May of 1991, and yet unemployment remains high, jobs remain hard to get, people are stuck in homes with reduced home equity, and they still know people that have lost a job in the last year, according to your survey. Better, but still 50%. That makes for a long-tailed recovery in people's emotional feelings, that even though the statistics are better, their emotions are not better, and that's killed many a politician who's optimistic.
Well, how do you shake those blues, though? I mean, how does that I know a lot of times we like to blame the media for not reporting on all the good news. And there is, obviously, every week I am reporting good news and bad news in the statistics, but how do you kind of shake all of that? How do you shake those doldrums?
Well, time heals all things, and when it comes to looking for a job in the economy, time is an important component. I know people are impatient. They want things to turn on a dime, and they just don't do that. But we are off the highs in unemployment. There were about 6 people looking for every vacancy last year. Now it's about 3 to 4 people looking for every vacancy. So the job market has improved. The unemployment rate has dropped. But, time is what it takes to bring that confidence back. What are some things that could happen that would ensure confidence? I think the government not beating you up in a regulatory sense in every aspect of your life, whether not just banking and housing, but in any kind of a building permit or an EPA-related permit or the cost of energy. All those things are subject to cost of regulation. And whether you're for the president's view on tax policy or the Republicans' view on tax policy, part of this uncertainty is we don't have a conclusion to it, and that it drags on, and that uncertainty, I think, breeds contempt for the process, and I think it breeds the kinds of caution that we're seeing in these statistics.
Let's wrap this up here. Tell me what gives you encouragement in these numbers that you've just seen right here. What is it, just the trend that things are getting a little bit better, or is there a specific number in here that you're looking at and you say, you know what, that's kind of a fresh take?
Well, I like seeing, do you know someone personally that's lost their job in the past year go down very measurably from 6 out of 10 down to 5 out of 10, and doesn't sound like a big increase, but that's a big decrease in that movement. That was encouraging. And I think that people are more satisfied with where they are personally, that it's going to be okay, that it's not going to get dramatically worse for them. I think that's a positive sign, and a sign that things are going to be better in the future.
All right. He is FrenchHill, CEO of Delta Trust and Bank. Thank you, as always, for being with us.
A treat.